distinction between how the street right-of-way is being used. So the primary purpose of street right-of-way is for transportation purposes. A secondary purpose is for utilities, and so they're allowed there with permits or franchise agreements. And so when the primary transportation purpose requires the relocation of the utilities, then we would ask the utilities to bear the cost of that. So with the vacation, even for this vacation for Metro, it's not really for a primary transportation purpose. It's for the development of their maintenance facility, which is merely a development and land use action. So it is appropriate for us to ask Metro to pay the cost of utility relocation.
I'm going to have to. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
Question?
I'm ready. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's the action of this committee. It will go forward to council on Monday, and I will be absent on Monday. So, Councilmember Wills, will you be able to?
Absolutely.
Monday? Thank you very much.
I'll
Thank
miss
you.
picking on you, Victor.
Thank you very much. We'll see you once again, I'm sure.
All right. The next item on our agenda is a briefing on parking meter installation project, and this will be by Seattle Department of Transportation. And just to introduce this while the presenters are coming up, there's been quite a bit of issues about parking meter installation over the last several years, and in particular the interest of the council in making sure that parking meters are installed in places where they appropriately reflect the needs and interests of the community and the business community, and in getting new technologies installed. We have a number of cities that have pioneered new technologies, and we've got some great opportunities for doing things that are more convenient for people and seem to make plugging the meter less of an issue for people because you can use things like credit cards and those sorts of things. So we really want to make sure that we move forward as rapidly as possible on this. The council passed a statement of legislative intent during the budget indicating that we not only wanted to move aggressively on both of those issues, but setting a target for revenues and installation of parking meters for over the next year. And we appropriated funds or set aside an appropriation for Seattle Transportation to do parking meter installations this year, and in anticipation of revenue for next year as a result of doing those parking meter installations. So this is the first response from the Seattle Department of Transportation to that statement of legislative intent and to our hope that we can get the parking meter program, I guess, I don't know if you can say parking meters moving. Maybe that's the wrong thing. But
Installed.
installed, right, yes. Okay, so great. Why don't we start with introductions and then go into your presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Sanchez with the Department of Transportation.
Mary Catherine Snyder with the Department of Transportation.
Tracy Kravchuk. Tracy Kravchuk with Department of Transportation.
I'm Robert Spiller with Department of Transportation, and in addition, we'll have one additional gentleman joining us shortly.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to start. As you mentioned, we're here to respond to the statement of legislative intent. And there, as part of that, you asked us to present some preliminary recommendations and a schedule regarding new areas for meter installation, as well as any proposed revision to city meter policies or supporting legislation. So we have a plan for how we can make this meter installation project successful, and that's what we want to discuss with you today.
Within the time frame we suggested, or within the time frame?
Going to go over all the details with you that I have today.
Just a simple question.
All right.
Yes or no?
We're going to start with 300 meters that we currently have in stock and install those this year. And then rather than purchase additional meters which could be outdated shortly, we're going to aggressively focus our efforts on the pay station project that Councilmember Conlon mentioned, which the new meter pay station technology can have some greater parking management and revenue benefits in the next several years. And that pay station technology, as we install that, allows for redeployment of the standard meters to many new areas over time. This is creating an aggressive yet feasible implementation schedule, and we think will help show businesses how meters installed can help them in terms of providing short-term customer parking near their businesses. With respect to meter revenues for the years 2003 and 2004, they will not be nearly as extensive as initially projected from the 1,600 meter installation effort. The pay station project, however, does have the potential for greater meter revenues and parking management benefits over several years.
Would you define for us what you mean by pay station?
Pay station is a technology, is a type of parking meter technology, if you will, that allows people to pay a machine using either cash or debit cards or credit cards, and either paying by a space or getting a receipt that they place in their windshield. And some people may have seen this either in the city of Portland or in some surface parking lots
Yeah.
in Seattle.
Good. I just want to make sure that that's what I thought they were.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for asking that. So that's what we're referring to when we say pay station project. So as I mentioned, we think it has the potential for greater meter revenues and parking management benefits over several years, and we will develop a financing plan that can provide more information with respect to that. You also asked us to look at any policy areas where we would recommend some changes, and one critical policy area we'd like to discuss with you today is the appropriate community outreach for this project. So that is an outline, and staff are going to go through some of the components in the memo that we've sent to you and be ready for discussion.
Great. Okay.
Let me apologize for running a little late. I had difficulty finding a place to park. I'm Billy Jack. I'm with Seattle Department of Transportation. I guess I wanted to say one of my primary areas of responsibility is managing on-street parking and curb space use. And I've learned over time that parking is like gold. The more you have, the more you want. If you don't have enough, you certainly want to get more. And there's nothing that can create an emotional sort of conflict in the community than to have ill-advised parking changes. Parking meters are intended to provide customer turnover parking in areas where there's a dense business space, and at the same time generate revenue for purposes of public safety and other sorts of city uses. The key factors for installing parking meters are the dense business areas that need to turn over parking, and at the same time where it's unlikely that the parking would overflow or spill over into the residential neighborhoods. Some of the other factors that are necessary are there needs to be curbs and sidewalks, and most of the time we prefer to have improved planting strips as opposed to sod. We've worked with the Belltown Business District during this last year and installed approximately 115 meters, more than in any other previous single year since the 80s. So we put out a pretty good effort in that area alone last year. An aggressive effort to install parking meters such as this that we're going to embark on is unparalleled in more than 3 decades. And certainly we all want this to succeed. What is the measurement of success? The measurement of success, the way I see it, would be at the end of the year that the business community says, geez, we're sure glad you put these meters in. Our businesses have gone up, our citizens, our customers aren't complaining that they can't find a place to park anymore, and that they can find available parking. Success also means to the city that the customers are in fact using those meters, and revenue has increased, and the likelihood of the B&O taxes have increased, and the results also lend credibility to city government. On the other hand, if parking meters go in areas that may not be as appropriate, where they sit empty, where the businesses suffer, where the B&O tax is likely to reduce, where the parking meter revenue doesn't in fact occur, then we have failed. And the last thing we want to have is failure in this unparalleled challenge. Not that many years ago, we removed more than 100 meters out of the West Seattle Business District in an effort to revitalize that business district. So dealing with parking meters really is an involvement that we need to share with the communities, and we need some level of discussion or consultation with those areas that we would, I guess, opt to install meters in.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the work that we've been doing since November, since the SLI was adopted. We've been working really diligently to figure out the best way to add more parking meters in Seattle's business districts, and exactly the work that Billy outlined. I think I want to point out that it really matters where you put them, and we want to make sure that they go in the right places. So I'm going to be talking about the potential community outreach options, potential areas for new meters, and then a schedule for installation, and the information that was provided in the memo. So we outline 3 potential options for community outreach. They range from option 1 in the memo, which was to provide a public notice where we basically alert businesses that meters will be installed forthwith. On the other end of the spectrum would be option 3, which is the existing petition process, where a majority of property owners sign a petition, and a process pretty much, and when Tom Graff is speaking in Belltown, that's what he was referring to. Option 2 in the middle would have SDOT staff attend business and community meetings with a proposal where you could talk to them and refine the potential meter installation proposal in a particular area, engage community support or the receptiveness to the businesses, ask questions about, maybe where load zones need to go, and just to get their feedback. Now, we anticipate using the existing petition process unless the city council, unless you want to authorize a change in our existing practice. So the second question is where should we put them? And in the analysis that we've done, we looked far beyond South Downtown and South Lake Union, and initially over about 45 business areas that already have some parking signs or might be good candidates for meters. And in the memo, we outlined how that we group these areas into 3 categories: high, medium, and low for potential for meters. And really, the high and medium areas, could over the next so many years work for meters, although in the medium areas we don't have parking data, and so we would need to do a little more analysis to figure out if they're really appropriate areas and where specifically in those neighborhoods. We did find 4 areas that we outlined in the memo, plus one that I want to talk about briefly: Uptown, Denny Triangle, Belltown, which is the downtown area, First Hill, Pike Pine. And then the International District also appear really promising for blocks within those business districts where meters really could work. All those areas have meters right now. They also have 1- to 2-hour parking signs, and there's blocks of unrestricted parking next to retail and commercial businesses, the areas that need